Hey everyone, thank you for watching NibbleNFlix, the podcast where snacks meet cinema. I'm your host, Jeff Reed. And in this video, we're going to be munching on the movies that are the worst movies of 2025 that got theatrical runs. And hit the like button for us so we get more eyes on a video. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new content is uploaded on the channel. And now let's get in these movies that taste like black licorice. And I wish I did not watch. Yuck. In this film, I was really hoping I would like. It has some people in it where I thought it could work for me, but it just did not work for me at all. And that's a Minecraft movie. Yeah, I know this movie made over $1 billion globally and probably be the highest grossing film of 2025 domestically.
Show me the money.
However, when it comes to the movie, the things that we're dealing with, the Easter eggs and the humor of it, is usually down my alley. I love dumb, silly, stupid, guilty pleasure films, but it just did not work for me. I felt like the characters were way over the top. I felt like it was too many Easter eggs, like where if you don't play the game, you really don't know what's going on. And the story of itself and the things they were doing with the side characters was just all a complete mess for me. And I kind of wish I was in the fun with everybody else, but it just didn't work for me at all. And I'll talk about like another film later on where I feel like I'm an outsider. I just don't know what the heck's going on. But that's how I feel about this film. And maybe in the sequel film, they would do a better job, putting a story together, having characters being less crazy. I thought Jack Black and Jason Momoa went over the top way too much. And it's funny because I always say that Jack Black in ensemble films, like with Troy with Thunder, when it goes to, Zombie, even with the new Anaconda film, if you saw my review for that, I enjoy Jack Black when he's in ensemble films with other characters and they don't really let him go full Jack Black. Well, they let him go full Jack Black in this film and it just didn't hit right for me. And the stuff they were doing, they allowed Jason Momoa to do was this way over the top, which I thought was a funny character first, but I was like, okay, there's no meat to the bone with these characters. They're just being stupid and dumb. And they were the side characters as well. And the stuff they were doing with some of the characters in the game, I just not feeling this at all. But I do understand families and fans of that actually watch this film actually had a good time, and that's why this movie made so much money, because it is a fun movie for its people. For me, it just wasn't fun. I wish it was, but hopefully a sequel when it comes out, they could kind of bring in people like me who's kind of like on the outside who never played the game before, to bring us into the world of Minecraft, and maybe we can enjoy this sequel film. But yeah, this one wasn't really my cup of tea, unfortunately. And I'm kind of sad because I like stupid, dumb, guilty pleasure films. Damn. Snow White. Well, this movie was doomed from the start. You had your both leads, Rachel Zegler, Gal Gadot, talking mess in the news.
For that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah. Weird.
Super weird. So we didn't do that.
Pissing everybody off. And then you finally got the first picture of the 7 drawers, which were the 7 drawers. They were what people call them, the woke drawers. I forgot what people were calling them. And then Disney freaked out and was like, okay, hold up, we'll make the real ones. And they made a CGI version of them, and that still didn't look good. Yeah, all this stuff was going on before the first trailer even dropped. It just seemed like this movie was doomed from the get-go. And once the movie finally was released, and the funny thing about this film is the first part of the film, the first 15 minutes of this film is really good. They give you a background of Snow White, where her name came from, her family legacy, all that good stuff. And then Gal Gadot enters the frame, and that's when the movie just went skyrocketing down. Not up, down. It was just because her performance was really bad. Her singing, the film was bad as well. And also when it comes to the story of the film, it just felt like two scripts meshed together. You can tell right away where you have one set of seven drawers where they were like thieves and they had their own little story and had their own little thing they were trying to do. And then they tried to introduce the real seven drawers from the original film, the CGI ones, where everybody said looked absolutely horrible. But they looked okay. But I understand the design wasn't the best, and you gotta understand they were like, short on time, and they had to get it out. They had to meet that release date. So, unfortunately, the story was very, very convoluted. It was all over the place because the two scripts were basically meshed together. And you could kind of tell, too, there's one part of the film where one character is talking about another character who we never been even introduced to. And I was like, who the heck is this person? Who are you?
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell are you?
This is who the hell I am. Huh?
And it just didn't make any sense where it was like, how do you make a film and don't really have someone that does quality control to see exactly if everything matches up right? Because it felt like there was a lot of plot holes in this film. And it got to the point where it was just not fun sitting through this at all. Even with Rachel Zegler's performance, where I thought she was really good. She was good at acting. Her singing was really good too. But when it comes to everything else in the film, I just thought they just did a horrible job. And I feel bad talking about Gal Gadot, but her acting without Patty Jenkins is just atrocious. I thought it would be a good role for Gal Gadot playing the evil queen. She was very perfect. She wants to be the most prettiest woman in the whole entire land. And she can play that role where she's very posh and everything. But it was just like everything else coming off with her acting ability, her chops, her singing, the song that she sung. It just was not good at all. When you got stuff that's offset, that's building drama, and people started hating the film before the first trailer dropped, the movie was just doomed from the start. And when they finally released out and had the final product, it was just very disappointing to see what this film could be. And I kind of wish that they never made this film, because Disney is just destroying all their legacy on properties, and they just need to leave these classics alone and just let them sit, just remaster these things rather than making these live action. So far, we only got a handful that have been actually good, and this one was basically an epic fail. Die My Love, a Lynn Ramsey new film, and she usually has hit or miss when it comes to her films because she does really art house types of films. And her films are usually depressing, and there's a lot of emotion going involved, and very beautiful visually as well. And this one just felt like it was just all over the place because I don't know what she was trying to do. Sometimes it has a horror element, you got some drama, and a thriller movie. And then, you're just sitting there watching visuals where you just don't know if it's a dream sequence or not, or is this really happening to the character? And it's just very, very convoluted. However, the performances from Jennifer Lawrence was top notch. And I honestly feel if this movie was a lot better, she would be getting nominated for a lead role for this year, because she goes all out as Grace. And she is the best part of the film. She carries the film the best way that she can. However, the film just basically fails for her when she's trying to just show all these emotions that she's going through. She's playing a character, Grace, who is a city girl, lived in New York City. She falls in love with Robert Pattinson's character. They move out in the country and they live in the woods. And it's basically a rural area where there's nothing around, and she doesn't have her job anymore because she's a writer, and she's basically trying to find time throughout her time out there while Robert Pattinson's character goes off to work. And you can kind of see her as the character slowly going insane. But the problem is you just don't know when it's real or when it's not. There's not a lot of dialogue in this film. It's just her physically acting. Not taking away from anything, like I said, I thought Jennifer Lawrence was absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to everything else around her performance, it just doesn't make any sense, to the point where the story is very messy because you don't know what's going on. You have really any dialogue in the film. There's really nothing on narrative being pushed around at all. And it's basically trying to say a whole bunch of things at once, really focusing on one thing specifically. And it also tries to talk about how, women body change and they might lose their mind a little bit after they have a baby, and they kind of put that in there too. Like I said before, it's all over the place and it just doesn't make any sense. And by that time, when it gets to the third act of the film, when they start giving you more meat, the story, what's going on, was those things actually a dream sequence or not? It's kind of too late as a reviewer. If you're a viewer of watching this film, you probably already turned off and you just don't care anymore. And it sucks because, like I said before, the visuals in this film is absolutely stunning. The messages in here, I think, could have worked if it was just drawn out better and built up better. And Jennifer Lopez's performance was absolutely amazing. But this movie absolutely was not fun to watch and very frustrating, and why I think it's one of the worst films of the year, because it has the potential, but it makes you really want to just walk out of the theater while you're watching. I know what you did last summer. Why they keep making these films, I don't know. But this time they made the characters extra dumb. It's the same setup as usual. Someone gets hit by a car. They don't want to do the right thing. And then the killer comes. And it just makes, it's just, if you're going to do these films, bring some spice to it. Change it up a little bit. Make it more interesting. They don't do that at all. It's the same stupidness. Make the characters extra dumb than they usually are. It comes to the point where the story is just complete garbage. They do things in this film where, they put a setup so some people will die. But I'm like, really? Is this what we're really doing? They know the killer is coming for them, but they go and, get intimate. Or they go to the gym knowing that the killer is basically stalking them and following them everywhere they go. Or they go to the beach and get drunk, knowing that the killer is coming and they want to fight the killer hand to hand, but they're drunk. This is stupid stuff like that. And they also give away who actually is the killer in the middle of the film, if you really pay attention to it. One character actually gets killed in the film, and she's like a podcaster, and she's like a huge fan of what happened at Southport. So she does like all these podcasts about, killings and cases and all this crap. So she gets killed off, right? Whatever. But before she gets killed off, she said, "Oh, it's you." Okay, well, we already been introduced to two characters from the original films. Who was in it? In this movie. It could be only one of those two. So it was like, you just gave the killer away out of nowhere. And then there's sometimes in this film where, they put a lot of emphasis on footsteps. And these people just stay there like deer in headlight. Or like, what's going on? And you hear these footsteps. That means the killer's coming, right? That's what the know on the fisherman. You have to step the footsteps. You hear footsteps, you need to get the heck out of there. They do deer in headlight crap. Like, oh my God, the killer's coming. It is stuff like that made me like, this movie is horrible. And then they have audacity to do what I just said, what they said earlier, who was the killer was, letting the cat out of the bag. They actually do it in a way where it doesn't make any sense for that character. It doesn't make any sense that the character would do something like this at all. And it pisses everybody off. And I completely understand, especially if you're a fan of these movies. It just doesn't really make sense for that character to do that. When it comes to characters being absolutely stupid, come to the story, this is all over the place and does not make any sense. And then finally the twist of the film that just absolutely just made everybody pissed off, because it just doesn't make any sense for that character to ever become a killer. It just becomes one of the worst films of the year. And I kind of wish they would stop making these films, or if they are going to make these films, just be more creative when it comes to it. Don't do the same stuff like as before. It's not working in the past. Why would you continue to do that in the future? This doesn't make any sense. This make the whole setup better, make the characters more interesting. Like, there's no character in this film that's actually, you're rooting for. You really want them all to die. That's not really good. But that's what it is with this film. So hopefully, if they do make another one, which I hope I don't see another film from this franchise, maybe they'll do it right. But you know what? They probably won't, because they know the fans of this franchise will go see this film anyway. But yeah, it was absolutely a disaster of a film. Inherence is a film about someone who want to make an entire film, record it on an iPhone rather than making a real film. Following a character named Maya, who is called from her dad, basically asks for help, and she slowly finds out that he's not really an international real estate a businessman. He's more of a former spy who's involved in some shady stuff. And the reason why I put this film on my list is not because it was shot on an iPhone. It's the concept of the film. They did try to do some stuff that was improv, try to make it feel more real. So what they did is put the character, Maya, in certain situations in different cities, in crowds, not telling everybody in a crowd that a movie is being recorded, and only certain people that was actors in the film knew exactly what was going on, and they were trying to get reaction from everybody around them. Problem with that, they did it too many times. They go to too many different cities, trying to get these reactions, put these characters, and he's tried to make them into these tense moments where he felt the character's in danger, and then nothing really happens at all. Everything's fine. And they keep doing that over and over and over again when it comes to the character going to a city, different city, where she's trying to pick up certain things, get certain things that her dad's asking for her, trying to collect all the stuff that she needs to find for her dad to help him out, to get out of some kind of trouble that he is in. However, it comes to the point where it gets absolutely boring watching this, and a complete waste of time. And you feel like there's no purpose to this film at all. They just want to do this to make a film on an iPhone, and it doesn't really feel real at all. It actually feels absolutely fake at certain times in this film. And once you finally figure out, because remember I said this stuff was made in improv, once everything's revealed and all the pieces of the puzzle actually are put together, it doesn't really fit that well. It just feels very inconsistent to the point where certain things were happening, and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense because this happened and that happened and this happened. How can this happen? And this is what the entire film was basically doing at the end of the film. It actually does nothing till the film, where you finally get this more of a story. You find out more of what's going on with her dad, the truth about her dad, and everything that's going on. And it feels like the film does not really earn that at all, because it makes you go through all this emptiness of thriller, intensity, and all this other stuff they were trying to build up with this fakeness of trying to be realism out in the real world, taping a movie on an iPhone, that when you get everything at the end, it feels completely empty and a waste of complete time. So please do not watch this film, because if you do, you're going to waste an hour and a half or whatever it is. You could go watch something else. Maybe you could watch the next movie I'm talking about if you're a fan of that. But honestly, don't watch this film because it's a waste of time. And I did that for you. You're welcome. Five Nights at Freddy 2. Man, Blumhouse is having a heck of a year, aren't they? You got Megan Point 2. You got Wolfman and Woman of the Yard. All these films could have been on this list because they absolutely suck. But this one is something I'm very disappointed in, and why I put it on this list is because Blumhouse said they listened to the fans, and the fans basically said they want some more stuff from the game in the movie. They said they were going to do that. They said they're going to bring more lore, and they don't try their best to bring the general audience into this entire franchise and get them involved as well. Well, did we get that? No, we got something else, and it was really bad. And the reason I said that because the film starts very good when it comes to the first couple of kills in the film. And it set things up to where you think it is going to go well. However, the next scene, you meet the main characters, and they are very boring and not interesting at all. And that's what really hurts this film, because the main characters are very boring, and you just don't care about them whatsoever. And they had all destiny to bring one of the best upcoming actresses in the game with McKenna Grace, and absolutely wasted her time. I really don't know what her arc of her character was in this film because they didn't show it. And when it comes to the other characters, like Matthew Lillard, actually his scene was the best scene in the movie. I love that whole dream sequence. Everything else in the film absolutely was ferocious for me. They didn't bring Skeet Ulrich in this film. He was in it for like 3 minutes, and they had audacity to even advertise him like he was a main character in this film, and he's in the film for 3 minutes. Like, what are we doing here? But when it comes to like the movie overall, the jump scares, they've done it too much. They had characters that you knew that was going to die because they set them up to be like, oh yeah, that person was going to die. And when they did die, it was basically like, this is the stupidest way to die. How the heck did this person run away with this animatronic walking very slow, and he can't find a better hiding place and stuff like that? There's stuff like that. This really irked me and really pissed me off about this film. And also when it comes to all the Easter eggs and references in this film, basically went over my head. So any general audience person like me who just trying to get into this thing couldn't get in at all because they made it to the point where it was so like just for the fans. And that was a problem with this film. Like the characters are not good. The story is not done well. The jump scares is done over way too much. The kills are I don't know, PG-13. I don't know. Like everything's off screen. It's not even fun watching. Yes, I know little kids play this game too, but the kills were boring. And they had the audacity to want to try to wrap this film up at the end of the film to be like a setup for the third film instead of doing a complete story where you have a complete finish for this film. No, just a setup for the third film. Why would I want to see the third film when you can't finish this film correctly? It is all these things that we're doing which just didn't make sense. And it's just very frustrating watching this because I know what they can do with this if they actually put a lot more into the story, the characters, and stuff like that. It could be a really good franchise. I know the creator of the games wrote the 2 films. Well, I think if you're going to let him write the third film, you need to bring someone else in here to help him write this movie or story because it's just completely empty. It's just full of jump scares and references and Easter eggs. And you can't really bring in new audience into this. And yes, it does make more money at the box office, but you can make more money if you make a decent film. And I was very disappointed, and I felt like I wasted my time watching this film because I just felt like I was an outsider and no one wanted me to come outside and play with him. Love hurts. This one hurt actually to watch. Feel bad for Ke Huy Quan. I thought he did the best he could in this film. The action was good. Everything else, especially when the characters start talking, yikes.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
The issue with this film is this just not the story. It's the chemistry of the characters, the main characters when it comes to Quan and Ariana DeBose. I just felt like the chemistry there was not there at all. It felt absolutely fake. And I don't know what's going on with Ariana DeBose. I feel like ever since West Side Story, every movie she has been in, she has just been absolutely horrible. And I don't get it because she has talent. She's super talented. And I don't know if it's just the project she's in or she's just not interested in these type of movies or she just want to do musicals. I don't know what it is, but she is absolutely horrible in this film. And you saw how she was in Craven, but hey, sometimes you need a paycheck to pay the rent. But
I need money.
anyway, like when it comes to this film, it's just everything about this film. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just the randomness. They try to go over the top too many times when it comes to the characters and the story and what they were trying to do to the point where it just becomes off silly and dumb and just is not fun at times to watch at all. Like I said before, the action is good, some of the things that we're doing, but even with the action, they go a little bit too overboard with it, where it doesn't make sense, where it doesn't really set up to let you know that it's going to be silly and over the top sometimes. It just does it and expects you just to be okay with it. I think that's what the issue with this film. Even with the humor of this film, it's just not good. Some of the jokes does not land at all. I did think Marshawn Lynch tried to do his best. He does have some funny moments here and there, but I felt like he was a complete waste of this film too. Just everything overall of this film just does not work, but it comes really up to the main characters and the chemistry of them just not really phoning in other than Quan. Everybody else feels like they're just there for a paycheck or they're trying to do it too much to where it doesn't match up to everything else in the film. And that's the problem with this film. It's just not fun to watch because the characters are not interesting. There's no chemistry between the main characters. The action does start good, but then it gets absolutely too silly at times. And the humor just does not land. It's just like this hurts. So I would not watch this film. But if you want to watch something like a guilty pleasure film, maybe this could be your guilty pleasure. Him. Well, the good about this film, the cinematography is beautiful and has a very art house look to it. And Marlon Wayne's performance is absolutely fantastic. And it sucks because every time he has one of these absolutely fantastic dramatic roles, it's in a shit film. And this is what this film is. It's absolutely full of shit.
That smell like shit, Rick. Do you smell shit?
I smell shit.
I did like the concept of what they're trying to do. There's no football games in this film, but it shows what football or athletes go through during the off season, like all the stuff that they go through when it comes to training, deciding if they're going to play or not anymore or retire. Things like that. And I actually like that way how the movie was set up, where you have a character played by Tariq Withers who's being drafted into the league. And you have this superstar legend, kind of like Tom Brady-esque characters are played by Marlon Wayans. And you see him being taken under their wing, under Marlon Wayans' guidance, and they're going to be on the same team, but basically who's going to be the better player moving on for that football team. And I like what they were trying to set up. They're trying to show what football players would do, what they're willing to do to make sure that they are the better player and can reach greatness. And I like that because it shows the small things that they do, the things that you don't see. You know, as a former athlete myself, this is where we grind. This is where we do all our hard work. So when the season starts, we just go into a certain mode where we're ready to play and hit the ground running. And the things that we're trying to do when it comes to like the jump scares and all the stuff, showing the metaphors of what athletes go through when it comes to dealing with the agents, fans, the ownership, the league, all that stuff. Yeah, I get what you're trying to do, but they try to do it to a way where it went to art house, and they try to use like horror elements as well with it. And it just comes across very shallow, and that's the sad thing about it. But everything they were doing was just for show, just for visuals. It wasn't had any meaning towards it. And if it did have meaning, it wasn't really explained properly to where I think anybody can watch this film and understand what these visuals really mean. I didn't get some of these things that they were trying to do. Yeah, I get it. Fans are crazy. Ownerships and agents use you and abuse you till they're done with you, and they get the new guy to come in to take your spot. And that's basically what this movie's about, but it does it in a way where it doesn't really hit everything that it needs to hit for all the cylinders. And it comes across as more art house and not really there to explain everything. And it's just all visuals and becomes pointless to a point where it forgets what it's trying to do and try to go to another route. And it doesn't really explain what it's trying to do at the second part of the film. And then finally, when you get to the third part of the film, it's just trying to recap what they're trying to say, beginning of the film, how owners try to use players, how they try to illustrate this is very creative, but just not executed very well, and to the point where it just feels very off-putting. At least make it to where we understand what you're trying to say. We understand your message. And this film seems like it lost the message so many times because it was focusing too much on visual. And that's what really makes this film very, very bad, is that it's very convoluted with the storyline. Then there's no storyline, and it's all visuals and art house. And then at the end, you're like, oh, snaps, we got to wrap this up. Let's make the most visual art house story of all time. Try to put all that into one, and it just come off completely as a failure. Flight Risk has an interesting concept, but just not executed very well, or not really drawn out to where it could actually be an hour and 30-minute film. And the story of this film is you have a witness, an FBI agent, and a pilot, and they're going to a court proceeding so the witness can actually testify against a criminal boss or some organized crime. And it starts off pretty good, like when it comes to what they're trying to do with this film. I thought Mark Wahlberg trying to do his absolutely best to make this film interesting as he's playing the pilot who's actually hired by the criminal boss to kill the witness. And that's what the film is really about. But the problem with this film is that concept can only last so long. And it's really about 20, 30 minutes after they can really do everything they're trying to do in this film, where the pilot is trying to kill the witness. And after that, what do you do for the next hour?
Like a pussy. You know what the difference between me and you is, Twig?
I don't know, $1 million?
Oh my God! Have some decorum, you hear me? I'm trying to have a nice time. Yeah. Don't you dare disrupt that.
No, I hear you, I hear you.
I do this for fun, I do this for free. Titty twister, you like that? We're gonna have fun.
Okay.
I don't know. repeat everything that you just did the first 20 minutes. That fix what the film is. So the film actually, it felt like the film just didn't have a lot on script or on paper to where it had a full out 90 minutes of movie. It felt like it had 20, 30 minutes and it just, everything else felt like filler, wasted filler. Like you had the FBI agent who's not flying is flirting with the guy who was trying to help them land the helicopter. And this goes on for at least 30, 40 minutes. You got Mark Wahlberg who's telling the witness that when he goes to jail, he gonna get it in the booty. And he says that I don't know how many times in this movie. You know when you get into jail, they gonna get in that booty. Do we need to say that? How many times I gotta say this line? Oh, 20 times? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the movie, guys. That's the movie. That's it. If you got 90 minutes to spend to get a good 20, 30-minute lead up, the rest of the film is watch the pilot and his operator flirt and listen to Mark Wahlberg say, when you go to jail, you're going to get it in the booty. Then this is the movie for you. It's not for me. And then when you get to the end of the film, just when you find out all the things that's going on, who the crime boss is, who's the person behind all this stuff, it's like, wait, what? You have to throw that in there because you had no lead up to this. It just happens. Like stuff just happens. And the only reason we know stuff happens because the operator tells the FBI agent what's going on, or she's on the phone with someone else and she hear what's going on in the background. And it just doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely emptiness after the 20, 30 minutes of this film. They had no idea what they wanted to do. They just wanted to do this cool concept and had nothing to do after the 30-minute mark. And that's what this film is. It's a complete waste of time. But if you want to watch Mark Wahlberg, you're a fan of him, and you like when he's acting silly and dumb, and he's very committed in this role. He even shaved his head for this film. And he want to say, you know, to Tober, you're going to get in the booty when you get into jail. This is the movie for you. The worst. And finally, the last movie on this list and the worst movie of 2025. Hurry Up Tomorrow, starring The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega. After I saw the presentation at CinemaCon, I was very impressed with the visuals and the sound design of this film. And I was like, okay, maybe this film could be pretty good. The Weeknd's acting skills is getting a little bit better. You got Jenna Ortega in this film. This could work. This could work. And we had a surprise concert by The Weeknd. That was the best thing about this film. Because everything about this film is just an egotistical, just drawn out, crying, just me type of film, all about The Weeknd. It has no story, barely any dialogue. It's a bunch of just scenes mashed together. Yes, it looks great and it sounds amazing, but there's no story. There's nothing going on. And you see The Weeknd, he's just talking to some girl on the phone. And now I know how some girls feel when they try to tell me, hey, you know, he's been acting crazy, trying to call me and do this. Oh, what are you talking about, girl? What are you talking about? No, I get it. When you see The Weeknd in this film, he's trying to talk to this girl. And it starts off like he's apologetic and he's sorry and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes to like, you know, I have issues. And then it goes to, yo, on The Weeknd, you should be privileged that you even met me, ho. And you're thinking the whole time, yeah, this is probably Jenna Ortega. You know, you see Jenna Ortega going on her little own journey in this film. And then you find out later at the film, at the last act of the film, it's not Jenna Ortega at all. It's some other random hoe. And Jenna Ortega is playing another random hoe that he meets. And then we get that infamous scene with The Weeknd with the best acting skills I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Too much, and I just want to help you, Abel.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I have to go right now. I'm getting calls. I have to catch a flight. I'm on a tour.
And that's the film. That's the film. Then you get this like fake misery type of thing that happens at the end where I'm like, what are we doing? We could have just lead up to this. This could have been all let up if she was the one on the phone, but they don't even do that. Like, that's how inconsistent this film is. And it sucks because it looks great. It sounds great. Everything about this film is just feeding the ego of the weekend. And just, I don't know what's going on with Jenna Ortega's agent. She needs to find a new agent when it comes to movies. She's fantastic when it comes to the roles and the projects she does on for TV. For movie-wise, it's been absolutely shit, and I feel bad for her. But maybe she just needed that producer credit so bad that she did this film. But other than that, this film is a complete waste. It should be burned in the garbage and never let out, because this is the worst film of 2025, maybe ever.
The worst.
I think Morbius is better than this film. Morbius.
Put my ends against, put my best against, put my 10 or put my spend. Have sex, excel.
Is better than this film. That's how bad this film is. Sorry, weekend fans, but this shit sucks. Well, that's my list for the worst films of 2025. And let me know in the comment section below, guys. Like, what is your worst films you watched this year? And let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. Just talk about how bad some of these films are. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys watching the channel this year, even if you're a newcomer. Definitely appreciate you, or first time ever watching me. I appreciate you watching this video. We're going to be doing some more stuff in 2026. I do got my top films of 2025 coming up pretty soon. And we're going to do some more stuff in the next year when it comes to going to some conventions, doing some more movie news and stuff like that. We're going to try to do a lot more stuff with content to this channel. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate it again. And until then, keep munching, keep watching, and keep it real. And I'll see you next video. Take care. Goodbye.